Alright, hello people, I'm the dude and this is my rant review for the TV series Arrow, which is based on the comic book character Green Arrow, who in the TV series is called The Hood. Wrap your mind around that one, I don't get it. Why didn't they call the TV series Green Arrow? Why didn't they call the character in the TV series Green Arrow? I don't know. It could be confusing, I suppose, but whatever. I'm just gonna call him Green Arrow, because that's what he's based on. So, the short version without the spoilers. Spoiled rich kid goes on a yacht with his father. Yacht sinks. All part of the big overarching, story. Gets stuck on an island. Not part of the overarching story at all. They're completely unconnected, right? Gets stuck on an island. Somehow survives the boat crash. Somehow survives, drifting in the ocean. Somehow survives the island full of mercenaries and killing machines, basically, and becomes a badass. Finally knows how to handle himself and learns how to use weapons and learns how to use a bow and arrow. Comes back to civilization before the boat crash, after the boat crash, sink, whatever the hell you want to call it. His father gives him a list of bad people, and now that he's this unstoppable killing machine, he hunts down these people and murders them all, basically. Becomes this vigilante, murders everyone on the list, wholesale slaughters them to make the city better, because these are bad people and they're ruining the city or whatever. This guy, he's not an ambiguous superhero. He kills people, right? He's not Superman, he's not Spider-Man. Hell, Batman doesn't go around just murdering people. This guy literally, he has a massive, massive bounty count by the end of the season 1. You could be forgiven to consider him a bad guy, because even though he's killing bad people, he doesn't even attempt to, convert them or save them or whatever. For the most part, he's just putting arrows in people left and right. But, anyways, he comes back home, tries to eliminate everyone off the list, and this is going to stop some secret society of evil people from enacting their big evil plan, basically. And all that stuff that just sounded semi-interesting, throw it the fuck out the window. Because that's at best maybe 25% of this series. All the rest of it is him talking to his ex-girlfriend, and talking to his mom, and talking to his sister, and talking to his best friend from childhood, talking to his new partner, talking to the tech geek, talking to his ex-girlfriend's father, who's the chief of police. Talking. Very, very rarely does he do anything as the Green Arrow in this series. Like, time that shit. In any particular episode, it's a few minutes of runtime. I mean, it defies all fucking logic. This series is called Arrow. It's based on the comic book hero Green Arrow, right? Did the comic book hero Green Arrow spend 90% of a comic book, like, just chit-chatting with fuckers? No, he ran around beating the shit out of people and shooting people with fucking arrows. So, yeah, basically the TV series has dick all to do with the comic book hero, right? And worse than that, it's false advertising. It's not a superhero TV series. It's more like a melodrama. But, yeah, if you can't tell by now, I didn't like it. Didn't like it at all. I hated most of the main characters too, but I'll get into that in a minute. So the short version, The long version with the spoilers, let's just get into the shit that didn't make any sense. For one, why was the island not connected to the rest of the plot, right? The island's where, 4 years ago, the boat crashed, he drifted, he got lucky enough to land on this island, he got lucky enough to survive the island somehow. I mean, he must be the luckiest motherfucker on the planet. Survived the yacht sinking, survived drifting on the island, or drifting on the ocean, found the island by some small miracle, and then survived on the island, which is filled with mercenaries who are killers, and all these people that basically could snap him in half without even trying, because he's just a spoiled rich kid. So yeah, he's extremely lucky, but gets to the island, bungles his way through somehow, finds not one, but 3 different mentors to teach him to be a badass, right? Yao Fei's the first one, Slade's the second one, and Yao Fei's daughter's the third, right? He gets trained by all 3 of them. They all teach him different things to turn him into basically Batman, which is what he is. He's a really rich guy, billionaire, who has all of these, infinite money at his disposal, and he beats people up with his, hands and feet, basically. Runs around kicking the crap out of people. Bad people. Come to think of it, he doesn't actually use his bow and arrow much, to be honest. He usually uses it, like, at the beginning of a fight. He'll shoot a couple of dudes, and then he always goes in and, like, beats people up. Like, punches and kicks and throws them and slams them into things and stuff like that. He's got the fucking arrow, but the bow and arrow really isn't his main method of dealing with bad guys, hilariously enough. It's his hands and feet. But whatever. Gets to the island, gets turned slowly, molded into a badass. It's actually the better part of the series, the island. There seems to be more tension there because he's not an unstoppable killing machine yet when he's on the island. He's in the, like, learning process. So he's actually in danger. For the present day, when he's dealing with, like, hoodlums and thugs and, like, crime bosses and all this, they more or less can't touch him. They pose no threat at all, right? Takes all the drama right out of the what little you see of the actual Green Arrow in this TV series. But yeah, back on the island, he learns to be a badass from all these different, martial arts masters. And big stakes at the end. Turns out that all the mercenaries are on the island because they want to start a war. They're paid to start a war. They've got this missile platform. They're going to use Yao Fei as a scapegoat because he was in the Chinese military. They set up this camera that shows that, supposedly he's the one firing the missiles, and they're going to blow up airliners, and that's going to, implicate China, and it's going to start a war and all this stuff. So they have to stop that. That could have been the whole season, and I would probably liked this series, to be honest. But no, that's maybe 10%, probably less than that, maybe 5% of the season. You get little snippets and flashbacks, and every once in a while, once in a blue moon, you get a whole episode that's about that, but there's maybe two of those in the entire season out of like 20-something episodes. So, sadly, the best part is very rare. The present day sucks ass. 90% of the present day, he's just chit-chatting with fucking people about random shit that I don't fucking care about. Going over the same ground with, like, how Tommy's dating his ex-girlfriend, and how his ex-girlfriend and him still have feelings for each other, and how Tommy thinks that, something's going on and all this shit. I don't fucking care. I don't care at all. This series is about Green Arrow. I want to see Green Arrow, right? His sister, and how she has a drug habit, and how no one understands her, and her new fucking boyfriend, and how he wants to meet the Green Arrow, and his new partner Diggs, and his relationships, and they're falling out, and them getting back together, and all this bullshit. I don't fucking care. That should have been, at best, maybe 50% of any given episode, right? The filler, right? It ends up being like 90% of every episode. Very rarely do you ever get any real screen time for the Green Arrow. It's usually at the ass end of the episode, and it's only maybe a couple of minutes, sadly. So, yeah. The series overall, really, really disappointing. They abuse the hell out of that. He's a superhero, and because of that, he can't tell anyone where he's going, or what he's doing, or how he's feeling, or any of that stuff, because it would put them in danger. The whole original Spider-Man trilogy thing, where he's got to be a whingy, whiny douchebag about everything, because, it's really tough being this badass, unstoppable killing machine, because I can't tell everyone how I feel. Shit like that. It's everywhere. It's everywhere in this series, right? It seems like every single episode they go into that. Every single episode. And it got old a long time ago. Let's see. Oh yeah, the relationships, they make it seem like Oliver and Laurel are gonna have a thing, and the Green Arrow and Laurel are gonna have a thing, right? She doesn't know the two are the same. So they make it seem like that they're gonna have some relationship thing. Never happens. It never happens. There's kind of like a wishy-washy moment at the very beginning of the series for the first few episodes, and then immediately she ends up with Tommy. And for the entire series, she's with Tommy. They break up once, but it's not like anything happens. There's no relationship drama there. She immediately goes right back to him. And the whole series, really the only point of her character is, for one, to be a damsel in distress, and for two, for that romantic melodrama that never happens. It never happens. She never gets with Oliver until the very last episode of the series. They kind of allude that they're going to get together in the last few episodes, and then they have like a fling. I think it's like the second to last episode. So like the very, very end of the series, right? You finally get some payoff for, you know, the romantic tension throughout the series. The very last like 2 episodes or something like that out of 20. All the rest of it is just wasted. And she never gets together with the Green Arrow either. She's got like, you know, googly eyes for him in the beginning because he's getting shit done, whereas her father believes in the law and he doesn't get shit done. And you think there's going to be something there, but no, it never really happens. So that's basically completely wasted. Oliver spends basically the entire series alone or with one of 2 girlfriends. He has one of the police women on the force becomes his girlfriend for I think 1 episode, and then she gets shot and decides that she's got to go have rehab across the country or some shit. Apparently she can't have rehab here. She has to go to some other part of the country or something. So she just disappears after all of I think like 1 or 2 episodes. And then my favorite character in the entire series is his other girlfriend, Helena. Helena is really cool because Helena is legitimately unpredictable, right? She's the only one in the series where I didn't actually know where it was going to go. Because first, she's a bad guy. She's decidedly a bad guy. She'll kill anyone that gets in her way to get to these people. And then Green Arrow takes her under his wing and tries to teach her to be like him, be a good guy, even though Green Arrow goes around murdering people. Make no mistake, his body count is massive. He shoots arrows into people and kills them constantly. But anyways, he wants her to kill the bad guys, not kill innocent people that get in the way. That's his version of good, right? He wants her to aim better, I guess. So he takes her under his wing and tries to, you know, turn her into a superhero or whatever. And it doesn't turn out well. Her personality is too dominant. She takes over and she's like, no, I just want to do it my way. And then it kind of bounces back and forth where he wants to be with her and he doesn't. He wants to help her and he doesn't. And then he tries to kill her and she kind of gets away. And she was the most interesting character in the entire series. And she kind of, for a while there, made Oliver an interesting character. Because for once, he actually had a real dilemma. It seems like for most of the series, he just knows what he's doing and why. And with her, she kind of threw him off his game for about a nanosecond. And it made him a little bit vulnerable and interesting. But it didn't last very long, sadly. Her first character arc lasts maybe 2 or 3 episodes, and then she comes back for another episode later on, but that's really it. We're talking about like maybe 4 or 5 episodes out of like 24, I think, or something like that. So the best character was in maybe 1/5 of the series, sadly. The other characters, like I said, Laurel sucked. She only had 2 real purposes: to be rescued multiple times, and for, you know, like the romantic interest that never really went anywhere. Diggs's character was completely superfluous. He had one real, you know, purposeful contribution to the entire series when Laurel's father, the police chief or police guy or whatever, police investigator, when he thought that Oliver was the Green Arrow, Diggs went out in the Green Arrow costume and pretended to be him to throw him off the scent. I thought when I first watched that episode, that he was going to become like a part of the team, right? You know, actively, instead of just sitting behind the scenes, you know, making phone calls and talking to people and shit. Maybe like 3 episodes total does he actually get his hands dirty, you know? Does he actually go out in the field and do something? And it could have been much more interesting when the one time that they actually rescue each other, and the one time where they actually have a fight together, where they're fighting, you know, the villain together as a team, it was much more interesting. But no, they just kind of sit him behind the scenes, you know, talking to contacts and, you know, manning the computer and stuff like that. It's really wasted. His character was really wasted. Another wasted character is Felicity. Felicity is like their resident tech geek. She takes over the computers, and basically she's, you know, just a plot device. They're like, you know, we need to know this. How are we going to figure it out? Ask Felicity to figure it out. Felicity figures it out, and she tells them. Basically. That's pretty much it. Like, you know, we need to get into this database so we can find out where the bad guy is. Felicity, hack it. You know, or we need to know how this, you know, MacGuffin thing works to shut it down. Felicity, tell us how. You know what I mean? Like, if it has anything to do with technology or computers or any of that, she's just Johnny on the spot. She knows everything about it. And that's her one contribution to the entire series, right? She never even gets any character moments for herself, right? We never really learn anything about her at all. I mean, that's it. She's just there to man the computer and, to give them information and tell them, where the bad guys are and where they need to go next and stuff like that. But, yeah, wasted character. Probably the best episodes were any of the episodes where you get a lot of the backstory. 14 was the one that I wrote down where you get a lot of the backstory. I think that's the one where his mom, yeah, it is. It's the one where his mom shoots him too, which is pretty interesting. What little you see in the present day in that episode was him shot, dying, and then Felicity and Diggs trying to save him with their whatever they have around the hideout, basically, which is pretty cool. And the whole rest of the episode, probably 90% of it, was the island, where they're on the island and they finally get some more, whatever you want to call it, plot, where they know what's going on and why the mercenaries are there and why Yao Fei is there and, what they got to do to stop it and how they're going to get off the island and stuff like that. Really good episode. The episode where they introduced the Black Arrow was really good. Like I said, it's the only real fight scene throughout the entire series where he faces off with someone and they actually use the bow and arrow a lot. Whereas usually he just kind of fires it a couple times and then fist fights. Here it was like a bow and arrow duel is what it was. Black Arrow versus Green Arrow, and it was pretty good. Probably my favorite fight scene throughout the entire series. That was episode 9. And then episode 7 was the introduction of Helena, my favorite character in the series. So those 3 are probably my favorites. The worst, probably the first 3 episodes, because fuck all happens. Those first 3 episodes don't really do much, to be honest. I mean, yeah, they had to do a lot of backstory, but at least they could have had some good fight scenes in there to counterbalance all the dialogue, right? But even on the island, right? He hasn't learned anything yet in those first 3 episodes. He's still a spoiled rich kid who doesn't know how to fight. So even the island scenes in the first 3 episodes sucked. So yeah, the very beginning of the series, just take your pick. They all pretty much sucked. But yeah, overall it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. I mean, it turned out to be quite possibly my least favorite superhero TV series I've ever seen. Before I would have said Lois and Clark, because that series sucked ass. But at least the characters there had personality, right? I mean, God forbid, like, at least they were fun to watch in spots. And at least the plot actually had something, something interesting some of the time happening. Here, the only thing ever interesting that happens is either Helena or the island. That's it. Even the big climax in the end, it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. He faces off with the Black Arrow, he wins, the Doomsday device goes off, and the one big surprise in that last episode was that Tommy died. Big spoilers. Tommy's Laurel's girlfriend throughout the entire series, and like I said, I think it's like second to last episode, she has an affair with Oliver. Finally, they get together. Finally, he thinks that he's not going to have to be Green Arrow anymore, so he thinks it's safe to finally have a relationship with her, and they finally do it. And then, like, second to last episode, and then right afterwards, Tommy dies horribly. He gets to be a hero. Throughout the series, Oliver had saved him multiple times, and now he gets to save Laurel. He saves her life. But yeah, and he's like, you and Laurel belong together. You're fated to be together. Or some stupid horseshit. But he gets to be the good guy in the end, which is pretty cool, I guess. But I don't know if his character deserved that moment. But I don't know, whatever. So they get Tommy out of the way, presumably for season 2, so Laurel and Oliver can be together. Finally. They waited until season 2. But yeah, anyways, my voice is going. I don't know. Overall, I didn't like it. Wow, my voice is really going. I don't know what else to say. I wouldn't say 2 thumbs down, but I would say that I wouldn't recommend it. It's not probably what you're expecting, and it's probably not what you're going to want either. So, especially from a superhero TV series. But anyways, I'll see you guys next time.